Let's talk about our democracy for a minute. But let's do it in a way that makes the snowflakes' heads explode. Let me be clear before this podcast begins. We are loud, proud, and do not give a fuck. This is the Tony Michaels Podcast. Real and raw political and social commentary. The freedom to oppress the rights of other people is not liberty, you shit-eating moron. Ah, the smell of freedom of speech. This is the Tony Michaels Podcast, and this is Tony Michaels. Hey, Tony, fuck 'em.
It's part of the intro. The freedom to oppress the rights of other people is not liberty. We will not tolerate intolerance from Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, any fascist out there who wants to tear down our democracy. We do not have to tolerate them. Full stop. Do not have to tolerate any of their fascism whatsoever. Ron DeSantis goes to PA to stump for Mastriano, or the Mussolini of PA. Ron DeSantis is trying to really make himself the King Hitler of America, MAGA King, trying to take over. It looks like him and Donald Trump are in a little scuffle of who is the king, who is the dictator, who's the leader of the Mogladites. As Lauren Boebert gets on Twitter and says, "Oh, you tolerant left are intolerant of Trump supporters." Yep, that's correct. That is right. We are intolerant of your intolerance, and we are not going to put up with it. It's just not a thing that we should have to do in this country. This is a democracy. This is a liberal democracy. We have freedom. We have liberty here, and we do not have to tolerate your intolerance. It is not a thing that we have to put up with. We've done it for long enough, for the past 5 or 6 years or so. It's enough. It's enough of the fucking stupid. It's enough of it. This morning, there's a video of Steve Bannon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Mike Lindell on the same screen at the same stage speaking into microphones. Talk about stupid. Holy fucking shit. And Steve Bannon says out loud into a microphone that when the Republicans, when the Nazi Party of America First takes the House back, we're going to make Marjorie Taylor Greene the Speaker of the House. Did you need another reason? Like another reason? Let's just say you weren't quite there yet on making sure to engage in your democracy. And I'm not just talking about voting. I tweeted this, that if you need another reason, or you're still looking for one, here's a fucking reason for you. Their plan is to make Marjorie Taylor Greene the Speaker of the House. That's their plan. That's Steve Bannon's plan. Mike Lindell seemed to like it too. I mean, he likes anything that puts fascists in control of stuff. The Pillow Nazi, the My Pillow Nazi. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, their plan is to make her the Speaker of the House. Think about this for a second. She's going to win a race in Georgia. There is very slim chance, and I want Marcus to win, sure. But there is a very slim chance that district in Georgia, that's why she moved there. Folks, she moved to that district to win it. Because she knows the makeup. And I'm sure Marcus will run a great campaign and really give her a shot and give her a run for her money. But she's probably going to win that race. So what are you going to do? Are you going to sit at home and go, Democrats got this, slam dunk, no problem? And risk that Steve Bannon will threaten violence against members of the House, Republican members of the House, to make sure that they put Marjorie Taylor Greene in charge of our House of Representatives? You don't think Steve Bannon will call for action? if they don't make her the speaker? You don't think? He's been calling on all the Mogladites to save Trump from this search and seizure of classified documents that he stole. They're continuing this nonsense over the weekend. Chad Wolf, of all people, the former acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, comes up and he decides he's going to make his thoughts known, as if anyone gives a rat's ass what that fascist Chad Wolf says. But Steve Bannon, of course, if they win the House, they will use threats against our country to direct them at Republicans to do their bidding. They continue to do it. Dan Crenshaw, same fucking thing. He tries to rebuke the Republican Party. They call him a globalist. They call him woke. And he spreads more lies on TV. Why the media lets these motherfuckers on TV, I have no idea. No clue. No clue why they continue this nonsense. That you would allow someone like Dan Crenshaw, who thinks it's cool to wear an eye patch, who talks about how Republicans are doing performative politics, the guy who jumped out of an airplane and wears an eye patch on a regular basis. Yeah, okay, Dan Crenshaw, get the fuck out of here with this shit. We have more Liz Cheney news. She's speaking out again, of course. But these Republicans are boxed in, folks, and we got them right where we want them, but we have to engage in our democracy, and there's no better excuse. No better excuse than Steve Bannon's great idea is to have Marjorie Taylor Greene as the Speaker of the House. Just the thought of that absolutely makes you want to fucking puke. But they're in Springfield, Missouri, have been all weekend. They're going to unveil some great evidence that's supposed to turn our democracy into Nazi Germany overnight or some shit. I know they had like 2 people attending that place. Half the fucking chairs were empty in that son of a bitch. It was worse than the last event that Mike Lindell had that was supposed to make Donald Trump king or whatever the fuck they're trying to do. Batshit crazy, folks. Batshit crazy stuff, but Steve Bannon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Mike Lindell are sitting there conspiring out loud in front of a microphone, calling to action that Marjorie Taylor Greene will be the Speaker of the House if they win back the House chamber, the Republicans. What fucking more evidence, what more reason do you need than to go fucking vote and just doubt me on the fact that Steve Bannon will make sure to get his little internet soldier troops, his keyboard cowboys, to go out there, his oath keepers and his Proud Boys, his domestic terrorist, his band of Mogladites, to threaten Republicans into doing it. Doubt me. Doubt me. Just sit at home. Don't engage in your democracy. Don't make sure to talk to people about what is important, what is the issue as of now. And the issue as of now is to be intolerant of intolerance. It's enough of this nonsense. It's enough of this Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Trumpism bullshit. This America First Nazi Party. It's enough of the shit, enough of the bullshit. I've heard enough. We now, us as the people, need to make sure our government is secure from these wackadoos, these lunatics. And only you can do it. And the only way to do it is to engage in the ballot. And I'm not talking about just marking your vote. I'm not just talking about going into the poll and marking your vote. I'm talking about engaging. Make sure you talk to people, your family, your friends, your community, like Beto's doing. Beto's not holding rallies. Have you noticed this? When he goes, it's not really a rally. It's these places are packed. and people are standing out in the overflow because there's enough people to be a rally. But he's at community halls. He's at churches. He's in these small little venues, and they're packed to the gills because he's talking to his communities. That's what you need to do. His supporters are doing that. There's a sea change, folks. I'm telling you, it's there. We have the momentum behind us. And there is nothing that is going to stop these Republicans from being more fascist than they already are. They're saying the quiet part out loud, and they continue. Jesus Christ. You should see the list of books they want to ban in Florida. They want to ban a book fair. A book fair. They want to get rid of the Department of Education. We're going to watch a video, speaking of fascist, taking away rights from people. We're going to watch a video of a Republican in South Carolina. And I'm not going to go easy on him either. He changed his mind. He voted, I forget his fucking name, and it really doesn't fucking matter at this point. He voted for the heartbeat bill to take away the right of women to their bodily autonomy in South Carolina, and he regrets it. And he regrets it. So he's not voting. He's going to abstain to a vote to take away more rights from women. He's just going to abstain. You know, he's not actually going to do the thing that he should do and voice his opinion. He's going to abstain. Fucking coward. So we're going to watch that video. We have a lot of video from Mike Lindell's little crazy summit, whatever the hell that wackadoo lunatic conference that is. Oh, we got a lot of video from that. I think we're going to have some video of Ron DeSantis probably queued up, where him and Pennsylvania's Mussolini, I don't know, is he supposed to speak sometime this morning with the Nazi candidate for governor in Pennsylvania? Does anybody know? I'm not really sure if he's supposed to speak this morning or not. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But Ron DeSantis is making it clear that he's trying to float a fascist state all around the country. I told you. I keep telling you over and over and over again. Doubt me. Ron DeSantis is laying out a blueprint, and now he's on the road. He's on a road trip, on a country tour to deliver that blueprint to all the fascists that he thinks can win their race, including in Pennsylvania. He's going to go to Georgia. He's going to go to several other places. He'll probably end up in all kinds of swing states, as it were. You know, he's wanting to box out, the MAGA king, Donald Trump. But more than anything, the most important thing is for him to win these races and for them to use his blueprint of a fascist state in Florida, his reign of intolerance for humans, for education, for truth. Won't even let people in his rallies that he knows that will videotape them saying intolerant shit. It's time, folks. It's time. Not yesterday, not last week, not last month. Now is the time to engage in your democracy. Now is the time. We have to lean into this. We have to. January 6th Select Committee has started tweeting again over the weekend. You talk about leaning into democracy. There's more hope for the future, more hope for September. Politicize it. That's right. I said it. We have to politicize every single measure here. Your way of life depends on it. Your democracy depends on it. Your children's way of life depends on it. Jesus Christ, their actual life may depend on it at this point. It is very important to politicize and lead into every single issue, every last one of them. I don't care what they call me. I don't care what they say. Oh, Tony Michaels, he just politicizes everything. You goddamn right I do. Like my democracy fucking depends on it, I will. You not going to relent. You damn right. If you want to see what it looks like for liberalism to take off their gloves and to fight for their democracy, well, come here every single weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific. I'll do it for two fucking full hours. I'll do it right here. And simulcasting from the MeidasTouch Facebook page. Because we will not relent. We won't. I won't. I know you won't. I know you don't want to give up. I know you want to fight for your way of life. You want to engage in your democracy the same way people are engaging down in Texas for Beto. The same way people are engaging in Pennsylvania for Fetterman, and Ohio for Ryan, for Kelly in Arizona, for Warnock in Georgia, for Val Demings in Florida. It's time. Now is the time to tell intolerance that we will not tolerate you. Fuck you. Fuck them. That's the attitude here at the Tony Michaels podcast. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. I don't give a shit anymore. Lost that a long time ago to give a shit about whether we're going to politicize an issue or not. But you can do this too. You can do this too with your family, your friends, your community members. You do not have to tolerate their intolerance. You can call it out right on the rug. It's really simple, really easy. You don't have to use a bunch of statistics. You don't have to use a bunch of liberal elitism. You don't have to use a big fancy college education or a law degree. Just common fucking sense. Common sense. It's not difficult. They want the same things you want. They just think that it's easier for one person to tell them what to do. That's what autocracy breeds. And they're at the front door knocking. The fascists are. Again, they're running around the country supporting a bunch of lunatics like Carrie Lake, this fucking Nazi in Pennsylvania. Crazies all over the country they're supporting. Bat shit crazy. And you might think, why in the world had they gone down this rabbit hole? Well, folks, saying the quiet part out loud got a bunch of violent people to crawl out underneath their rocks. A bunch of violent white supremacists to crawl out underneath their rocks. And they also convinced a lot of very, very easily deluded people in this country, especially easily deluded white people, with Russian propaganda and fascist propaganda, that they're somehow getting their country taken away from them. When they elected and had the guy in charge that was supposed to deliver it all back to him, remember, make America great again. Well, he had his shot, and he fucking trashed it. He fucking trashed it. And we know what Republicans do to our democracy. We know what they do to our country. We know what they do to our countrymen. We know what they do to the American citizens. We know what they do to hardworking middle class. They shit on them. And they continue to shit on them. So it's not hard to make this decision to fight for your democracy and to engage in the ballot to make sure that you're actually doing the thing called democracy and having discussions with everyone in front of you. Every single one of them. I was talking to a friend this morning, and they were talking about the FBI search and the whataboutism from Clinton and the whataboutism from Obama and the whataboutism. What about? Well, how about this? How about this? If it is so egregious what your political enemies did and you wanted to lock them up, well, then why can't we do the same? We should start chanting at events, lock him up. Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Think about it. It works to get elected. It got him elected. Did he lock her up? Hell no, because there was nothing to lock her up for. It was all lies. But if we do it in truth, if we really do it in earnest, why couldn't that happen? I mean, Jesus Christ, he ran on building a wall, couldn't finish the wall, couldn't get Mexico to pay for it. And here Joe Biden got Mexico to pay for actual security at the border to stop drugs and fentanyl from coming across the border. like they're bitching about. Oh my God, did you see Border Patrol seized millions of pounds of fentanyl and they stopped it from coming across the border? Damn you, Joe Biden. What are you talking about? Yeah, they seized it. That's the whole point. It's all lies. It's all lies. It's easy to knock lies. It's easy to kill lies. Come here. Come here every single day. 2 hours a day. I kill them all the time, shooting them down. Bang, bang, lie, bang. It's like we're Second Amendment bros here shooting down lies. But all you have to do is use your little noggin there and to talk to folks. I'm not talking about in a Twitter reply thread. You're not going to change a troll's mind. Jesus Christ, that's what they're there for in the first place. I'm talking to people who are frustrated with politics. They're frustrated that people are taking their rights away. They're frustrated that they see stories in the news about teenage girls being forced to give birth, about women losing their bodily autonomy. They thought that would never happen. I mean, they just wanted to overturn Roe. They didn't actually want the consequences of it. And they want to go further. And they're not going to stop at book fairs and women's bodily autonomy, folks. They're not going to stop there. Do you think it's clear. It's clear that they're not going to stop there. But I mean, I can provide you evidence all day long. But they're banning math, banning book fairs. They want to force 10-year-olds and 16-year-olds to have babies. Jesus Christ, in Florida, Ron DeSantis is banning book fairs and banning books and forcing 16-year-old girls to force them to have birth because they're not mature enough to decide whether they want to have an abortion or not. And forget about the parents' consent here. They want to take your full consent away from you about your children. That way in Tennessee, they can marry them. They had a bill up there trying to marry children. Doubt me. I'm telling you, they're not going to stop. And it's scaring a lot of even Republican politicians because they see the writing on the wall, folks. They see what's happening. They watch what happened in Kansas. When Kansas went out and not only didn't vote again for politicians, they voted not to have politicians take away their fucking rights. That is a slippery slope for a lot of people. It doesn't matter what you consider yourself politically. Whether you think you're fucking Democrat, Republican, you're nonpartisan, you're an independent. Hell, you could be pro-life and go, wait a second, you mean there's no exception? None? Give me a fucking break here. I'm telling you, these people are in trouble, and we got them right where we want them, politically. But we have to politicize this thing. We have to. You have to politicize every single measure, and you cannot stop. You cannot relent on politicizing it. Your way of life, your democracy depends on it because this is the most important election that our democracy has come up against. Yep, I said it. This is the most important one. 2020 was the most important one until it was over. Now this is the most important one until this one's over. And then it'll be the next one and the next one and the next one. They're not going anywhere. You think Mike Lindell, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis are going to stop the grift? Stop the fascist grift? You think Lauren Boebert's going to give up strutting around on stage raising money? Jesus Christ, Ron DeSantis can't raise fucking money from small donors anymore, so he's going to big paydays, the donor class, because he can't get small donations anymore. We got him where we want him. We just got to lean into it. Just fucking lean into it. And don't quit. We can't go, we won that one, so we're done now. We have to keep going. We have to keep spreading the pro-democracy message. Look, the tail always wags the dog in this country. It always does. This idea that somehow a transformative politician dilutes the masses is absolutely fucking ridiculous. That is not how it works. That is never how it works. It may appear that way, but that is not it. That is not it. The tail always wags the dog. Always. You see it in Texas. You see it in Texas. Texans are fucking ready for someone who's gonna fight for them. And Beto is genuine about caring about his community. So yes, the tail wagging the dog there? Of course it is. Sure, why not? Why shouldn't the tail wag the dog? Why shouldn't politicians do what we, the constituents, the government, we're the government, not them. They're just the elected officials of the government. We are the government. We get to wag the fucking dog. We are the tail. So be the tail. Be the tail that wags the dog. Politicize the shit out of everything. All of it. All up and down that motherfucker. You're never going to get the line items you want. You're never going to get the line items you want. You want to get rid of this. You want to get rid of that. You want to add this. You want to have this. Well, if you let the fascists take control, if you don't fight hard for democracy, because democracy is tough, folks. It's a bitch. Democracy's a bitch. It's a motherfucker to come to a consensus with a large group of people, wouldn't you say? Why do you think the Democratic Party is always in disarray? That's what they say. And the Democratic Party isn't in disarray. We just all don't agree on every single measure, and we sit and fight over it. When what we should be doing is going, hey, they're fascists. We're not going to put up with that. Why don't we band together and fight that? And then we'll once we have made the fascists crawl back underneath their rocks, then we'll fight over what the actual amount of minimum wage should be, because then we'll have control of policy. Maybe then we'll argue when children should start school, at 3 or at 5. Maybe that's a policy we'll fight over once we get rid of the fascists out of the government. They want to make Marjorie Taylor Greene the Speaker of the House. They want to make Marjorie Taylor Greene the Speaker of the House. And I'm sure Lauren Boebert will be the whip. Oh my God, that's where we're at, folks. That's where we're headed. You are the only thing that can stop it. Doubt me. Speaking of Doubt Me, we got the Doubt Me merch. Everyone's been calling for it, clamoring for the Doubt Me merch. Please, please, please get here. It is. It's live, folks. Go to store.theTonyMichaels.com. The mods have the link in the chat. You can go to theTonyMichaels.com. You can click on the merch store as well. The merch is here. Also, support pro-democracy speech today. I would love if you guys showed support for our show. You can do that at support.TonyMichaelsPod.com. We keep it going 2 hours every single weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central. I do not want to stop yelling into this microphone. So we appreciate your support. And we support democracy. And we support pro-democracy speech here on the Tony Michaels podcast. So make sure to not just support us, though, support other pro-democracy speech out there. And it's not always about giving money. I mean, if you got a little bit to give to pro-democracy speech, whether it be us, whether it be other folks in the MeidasTouch network or outside that network, or even your politicians that you think can win these races, they need that change. It costs money. Unfortunately, in this society, it costs money to perpetuate the speech and to perpetuate the change in elections to get to where we can set policy. So do those things. Support pro-democracy. And I'm not just talking about cash. I'm talking about liking, sharing, finding those things, talking to your neighbors, your friends, your community members. As these pro-democracy candidates are doing all around the country. We got a lot of shit to round up today. You know, we surf the tweety tweets and the trendy trends every single weekday here on the Tony Michaels podcast. And when we come back, we got a lot of video to go through. So don't go anywhere. The shit list roundup is right up next. Stick around. We'll be right back right after this break.
We'll be right back. Mark, 60 seconds. This is the Tony Michaels podcast.
Are you numb and alone after storming the Capitol? Have you been left out in the cold after stealing Nancy Pelosi's mail? Do you feel exposed to a government that doesn't share your patriotic values? If any of these describe you, then you're in luck. Hi, I'm Paul Gosar, and thanks to my new product, Pardon Blanket, I've got you covered. Pardon Blanket specifically works to make you feel safe and cozy after your involvement on January 6th. And if you're one of the other members of Congress who also helped with the attempted coup, Pardon Blanket will protect you too. Pardon Blanket is made of a sort of soft fleece and a layer of sheep's wool. And they're 100% made in the USA. Don't delay and get your Pardon Blanket today for just $99.99. Actual pardons not guaranteed.
Jumping back into it, this is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be the Speaker of the House. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? I guess that was the big piece of information that Mike Lindell said we were all going to love. He's running some kind of, I don't know, cyber symposium or I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're having some kind of crazy fascist Nazi rally down in Springfield, Missouri, because they couldn't find anywhere else. But this was supposed to be the world's biggest event. There's going to be so many millions of people here. He's barely at 1,000 people watching this fucking thing. But you got to keep an eye on this because they're projecting what they want to do. You have to take them seriously when they say what they want. They're saying the quiet part out loud. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? There's no fear anymore. Again, when the fascist tail is wagging the dog, when the Nazis, the America First Nazi Party, crawls out underneath their rocks, of course. Why not? Why not just go to Pennsylvania, Ron DeSantis, and christen the Mango Mussolini's pick for governor there, the Nazi? Oh boy, if you're not paying attention, you need to get with it, because here we go. Let's surf the tweety tweets and the trendy trends, because I got some video to show you. Let's start the countdown.
Shit List.
The Shit List Roundup. Welcome to the part of the show where we surf the tweety tweets and the trendy trends. This will not disappoint today. You're going to have plenty of ammunition when you leave here today to talk to your family and friends and tell them how absolutely fucking how the lunacy of the right is out in full force, and they're ready. They're ready to take over the government and turn it into a fascist Christian white nationalist state. The Christian white nationalist herself, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you see here, is at Mike Lindell's lying conference, a Nazi rally down in Springfield, Missouri, with the king of the Moglodites, the Pied Piper of the Moglodites, Steve Bannon. Isn't Steve supposed to go to prison soon? Isn't he supposed to go to prison soon? Maybe these other two on the fucking stage can go to prison too. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. What do you think, Gabe Sanchez? You think these three need to be handcuffed? I know. I'm just.
I would totally agree that they do.
You think these? I mean, you got Steve Bannon, who's definitely probably going to go to jail. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, which she doesn't even know how to govern because she's not even in committees. Like she doesn't even know how to committee. And Steve Bannon is telling the crowd here, the tens of people that showed up at the Nazi rally in Springfield, Missouri for the Martello Nazi to have, I don't know, some kind of revelation is going to change our minds. I guess it's this revelation where Steve Bannon is saying, we're going to make Marjorie Taylor Greene the Speaker of the House. That's a big revelation that's going to change the country.
Yeah.
I actually think that it should. This piece of clip, watch this. Have you seen this yet?
I saw a thumbnail I have not actually watched this clip.
Okay, well,
I know it's going to be fucking dumb.
This is not very long. I won't even pause it and interrupt. I promise. I will play the whole clip here. Let's watch.
And once we win the House, do we have a better Speaker of the House than MTG?
Oh, that's fucking disgusting.
Look at that.
That's amazing.
Courage. Are we going to need her as Speaker of the House to take it to the Democrats? All right.
Even Mike Lindell's not sure, right? He's like, he's looking
like,
at his watch. He's like, holy shit, that is not the piece of information that I expected to come out of my rally.
Yeah,
holy moly.
It's okay. Let's remind ourselves here.
Mhm.
Last year, Mike Lindell held the Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium.
Is that not what this is? I thought this was what this is too.
This is the same thing,
right?
But rebranded.
Oh, so he's giving the same evidence that didn't exist back then?
It's more or less the same evidence. It's the same bullshit. Same bullshit.
Well, you know what's funny?
Last year,
well, the Cyber Symposium last year, that's the one that got Tina Peters indicted on federal charges because Mike Lindell talked her into fucking around with voting machines and shit.
Right. And that was the one this year where they're like, you can't go. Because I think it was the judge this year that was like, you can't go to this thing.
Right. You're talking about Tina Peters.
Yeah.
Well, but because what if you remember the Cyber Symposium, remember he's supposed to have some kind of crazy, it was going to be a groundbreaking guest, and she was going to lift the lid off everything. And that's who it was Tina Peters. And who Lauren Boebert supports, by the way. She's in Colorado, same district, one of the county officials in Lauren Boebert's district. And I'm not sure if they redistrict, if it got changed. But anyways, the point is that person is on federal indictment for fraudulently messing with voting machines and taking voter information.
Yep.
But they even described it at the Cyber Symposium. I remember that. She comes out on stage and she's talking about how they had to fly her around in a plane so they didn't arrest her and shit. And she was going to come here to tell everyone exactly what happened before she got arrested. And I don't know. It's just kind of funny. She knew she was committing crime. She knew she was going to get arrested, but they tried to frame it up like it was the deep state, the same shit they're doing with this fucking classified document shit.
Yeah, it's though. I mean, like, they're admitting to the crimes. I mean, you had Kash Patel yesterday or 2 days ago.
I got that clip. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just kind of goes, yeah. Well, I saw him. He declassified everything. It's like, whoa. You were there. You witnessed this. You saw him declassify these documents.
And he's talking about the magic wand kind of thing, right?
He's
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, it's like Guardian declassification or something like that,
Right. Is there like a declassification seance that these people hold?
I think so.
Something?
I think basically they sit in a circle and they pray to Ronald Reagan and they pray to
which is
Nixon.
Kind of funny. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah. They have these people and they're trying, Reagan and Nixon and George H.W. Bush. And they kind of throw in, and occasionally they'll throw Lincoln, and Lincoln's always like, nah, fuck this seance. I'm out of here. Like, he doesn't even want to be a part of that. But every time they just try to throw this seance, and they try to do some magic, right? Because they're like, we're witches and warlocks, and that's what we do. Fucking
It really is weird that the white
dumb.
Christian nationalists are totally into like pagan stuff. They're gonna have a seance. Here's your tweet about Kash Patel here. And Kash Patel says in December and January on the way out, like he's admitting it here, on the way out, like they're saying we knew we needed these documents to hold them as evidence or sell them or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
He witnessed Donald Trump declassifying whole sets of documents.
Yeah, like there's just like a pile of documents, like it's fucking Costco bulk style, and he's like, declassified, declassified.
Well, he also claims that the tweets are proper declassification.
Yeah, that's I find protocol. That hilarious. They're like via social media. Like social media is the magic wand waving tool that says if you go I declassify, and then it's like, well, he put it on Truth Social. He put it online. He made it. He made a press statement about it and released it online.
That makes it official.
It's a
Well,
fish.
you know, like the they had this problem early on in his administration when he basically threw LGBTQ people in the military under the bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we will not, and basically the Department of Defense is like, what the hell is this? I mean, they really had to go through there was a legal process that they had to go to figure out, like, do we follow this? Is this an order? What the hell is
Right.
this? Like, they weren't really sure. But listen to Kash Patel tell the story here. Now, remember, Kash Patel is not only a Mongoloidite. This guy was in charge of shit at the Department of Defense on the day of January 6th when they tried to violently overthrow our government. Listen.
Required. That is a fiction being created by the fake news and the radical left. In October of 2020, President Trump put out...
I'm going to point something out here. Do you see his pen on his coat?
Yeah, the cash pin.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
I don't know.
What the fuck is
KSH, but cash is like a money sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that like, does he have his own, they all got their own trader Bitcoin or some shit. Does he have like his own, is that what he's pimping?
Like, I was curious about this last night, and I think it's
because he's a fucking trader. Well, the other thing about Trader is Trader Social, or Fraud Social, as I normally refer to it. Did you see the video of Kash Patel and Devin Nunes trying to pimp this like laser truth?
Oh yeah,
social
the edging.
thing? Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like they're making so much money over there at True Social that their idea is to pimp.
Like so I can't find anything online that actually has the $H, but it doesn't make sense because the way that would be that would sound
right
is like, is it
because
a $sign doesn't make an AS sound.
Well, I mean, I would understand if he would say KA $H. That would make sense.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe that's why it was some kind of symbol for like a Bitcoin or some shit. I didn't know.
I have no idea. I was like, I don't know if this is some sort of like, at first when I saw it, I was like, is that like a Cash App? Like that's his username on Cash App? Like, is that what he's trying to get? Like money that way?
I don't know.
But then when I try to look it up, like Google knows what I'm looking for, but they don't know.
Even Google's like, this is so stupid. I don't even know what you're talking about.
We think we know. It's just his logo. Okay, hold on. Opinion.
Oh, it's his logo.
Wall
so this
Street
is like a
Journal.
Don Jr. thing because Don Jr. has the stupid gold logo, and Kash Patel apparently has an even dumber logo.
Yeah, it's just his.
It's really confusing.
It's a website selling hoodies, tank tops, and other gear with his logo.
Oh, it's a grift.
Each.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Well, let's finish here. Let's get to the trader part of this clip, not the Cash logo part of it.
For the world to see, a sweeping declassification order. And he did it via social media. Every single Russiagate doc.
This is the social media part. So he goes on here about all these documents that he's declassifying. And the reason why he's saying this shit is because, number one, he knows that's not how this works. He knows that all those documents that he's about to list off and, puke out of his mouth, that's not going to declassify these documents. That's not how it works. And the only reason why they pretend that they declassify these things is to say that they're transparent. This is the shit that this administration and the media still buys into. He would come out. We remember when he was he tried to be the dictator of our country. Mm-hmm. He would come out and go to his helicopter. As he was walking to his helicopter, he would puke lies to the media and they would air it on TV. And they act like he's being transparent. Like, what are you talking? Just because he lies into a microphone doesn't mean he's being transparent. Transparent is the actual act of showing the truth. That's transparency. Hiding the truth with lies is the opposite of transparency. Cash, or however you say your logo name. I don't know. Maybe it's Kush. I don't know.
Every single Hillary Gate doc. Every one. Those are his words. That is the precedent that the president of the United States is allowed to operate under. And then in December and January,
no, it's not.
Way out, I witnessed him declassify whole
sets
of
didn't.
Documents. So
I mean, I actually think he's lying here, don't you?
Oh, yeah. There's no, he is not
I don't think he's telling the truth.
But here's the thing. Even if either way, he's telling the truth or he's not telling the truth, he just admitted on TV that he saw this, that he witnessed this, which means that now, like, as if he wasn't already a person of interest, he is definitely someone who like, oh, so you saw him do this? We want to know more about that. Who was in the room? When did he do it? Where did he do it? What documents was he declassifying? Because they're probably going to check and say, like, all right, were the documents that he declassified that day that you witnessed, are they the same documents that we recovered, or are they still missing?
Well, this bonehead, too, also, when he's saying this, because I think he's lying here. There was no situation where Donald Trump is like waving his hands over a box of documents saying, I declassify you. That's all bullshit.
Unless
But I
it's one
do
of those,
believe
unless it's that painting, you know, that painting with Jesus where he has his hand over?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just like that. And then it's just like transitive property. Jesus is actually declassifying the documents.
That may be what it is.
Trump.
White nationalist declassification through Jesus with the bridge of Trump. But here's the thing. I do believe him when he's saying he was in the room when Donald Trump was packing this shit up.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing that I think is most important about this little situation that Kash Patel has put himself in. Is Kash Patel definitely was there to witness Donald Trump mishandling classified documents. 100%. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kash Patel is packing this shit in boxes with him. And that's what he means. Like, yeah, I was there. Hell yeah, I was there in the room with him when there was fucking dozens of boxes of classified documents.
Right.
Of course I was. Like, I think that might be why I don't know if Kash Patel isn't the informant. A lot of folks, including Michael Cohen, is saying that it's Jared. But how do we know that it's not Kash Patel? And really, I think that should be the main question that people keep asking Donald Trump. Is Kash Patel the FBI informant here?
Yeah.
I mean, if Kash Patel is going out on national television saying that I watched Donald Trump handle classified documents, I watched him pack them away. He was standing in front of a mountain of classified documents. I don't know. I mean, that's enough evidence for me to believe that Kash Patel.
It's also an interesting play to be like, I'm the informant and I'm going to go out and act like I'm not the informant by continuing to push this idea that, oh, yeah, he just waved his hand and it was declassify that and declassify that and declassify that. The other thing that I was thinking about yesterday was, so if you're at a company, you're at a job, you know, and let's say they have layoffs or you're fired, right? You have to leave the property, the premises that day. They will say, oh, great, we shut down your access to all of these accounts, your computer. You pack up your shit into a box, the things that you own, which is like, oh, I had a little plant and I had a little, like some pens and pencils.
The shit that you brought to the
office. Yeah. But everything else is like, this is our IP. This is our property. This is what we own. So in this moment, like, I know that, because what happened here is like, Trump didn't quit, right? He wasn't like, all right, I'm out, I'm retiring, I'm resigning, whatever. He was fired, right? This was a moment of like the American people. The American people voted and they said, you're fired to Donald Trump. You fired by over 7 million votes. By over 7 million people said, you're fired, you know? So what happens is we think, hey, any adult in the past has normally handled their transfer of power in a respectable, professional way. And Trump's like, fuck that shit. I'm going to take whatever I can. And what happens is Trump now has spite out against the government, against the American people. Because he says, oh, well, you know what? If I can't have it, neither can you, right? He's the kid that has the ball and he takes it home with him because he loses the game or something happens where he's like, oh, you know, fuck this. I'm taking the ball back home with me. Like, oh,
he got his ass kicked by Dark Brandon on the playground.
Right, exactly.
That's what happened.
And so right now, you look at this, and I was trying to think, I was like, oh, if any sort of professional company setting, you would get all access removed. They'd be like, nope, you're a threat. You're a risk, especially if someone holds a grudge and they have a certain level of authority or like power at a company. They could do severe damage. And here you have the CEO of the company that is America. And we're like, yeah, we trust him to do what he should do. We trust him to be an adult. And that is where we fucked up. This is one of those things where it's like, nah, we should have had some sort of like security person that was there making sure that this shit was done right. And now, because this happened, we probably will have to make a new set of rules for this transfer of power. It's like when you go into a restaurant or a business and somebody has a sign up that says, don't do this thing. It's because somebody did that thing and they're like, well, fuck, now we have to make a sign to say, don't do this thing because we made the assumption that everyone was going to be an adult and not do this thing.
Well, you see these stupid stickers on the machinery. Like, don't stick your hand in this thing. Like, yeah, that seems
But it
logical.
only takes one person
Right.
to fuck it up for everyone, where it's like, oh God, okay, who was the dumbass that put their hand in that thing?
Right. Well, let's listen to this dumbass who walks straight into the actual point here. Again, they do this all the time, but let's see how he tries to weed his way out of it.
It is not incumbent upon President Trump and his lawyers and him as a target of this investigation to show he in fact did declassify them. It's up to the government, who has the burden of proof, who are trying to deprive a man of his liberty, to show that no such order was in fact given.
Actually, that's not what they have to do. Yeah. They don't have to show whether he did or did not classify him. That's all bullshit. They just have to show what the documents actually are. That's it. Yeah. There is a fact of what the documents are. If he didn't go through the proper protocol for the government to know exactly how he wanted the classification of those documents, that's his fucking problem, not the government's. He was carrying these things still marked the way they were supposed to be marked. That is the point, too. And I think that's really what the sticking point is going to be here, because we're going to watch the January 6th Select Committee start their hearing soon. Gabe, they've been tweeting like a motherfucker. Yeah. I think we're going to get an announcement probably this week of when these hearings are supposed to be. I don't know that. I don't have any evidence other than that they've been tweeting, ramping up this storyline again against Donald Trump. But I think actually this document story is going to be the least of Trump's worries about these classified documents, how he handled them, whether he sold them. I actually think that's going to be the least of his worries here, because there was a lot of missing documents when the January 6th Select Committee and the DOJ went and subpoenaed the White House for a lot of records, including logs, certain notes and things. And who knows, maybe those are just some of the documents that they're trying to hide from the American people. And
well, because of the January 6th committee, they went to the DOJ and they said, hey, can we have access to these documents? After NARA came out and said, hey, we've collected 15 boxes, the January 6th committee
was the original boxes.
Yeah, these are the original ones. And the January 6th committee came out and says, like, hey, can we get access to those documents? Because we want to see if there's anything in there that would give us insight into what happened on January 6th. And the DOJ was like, nope, access denied. Like, you cannot have it.
Right.
Now, at the time, we just assumed that everything was collected.
Because DOJ subpoenaed those boxes from NARA, the National
exactly.
Archive.
And so this is one of those moments where we're like, wait, why? Like, there's an investigation, but it seems weird that it was just like flat out denied. And so now it all makes sense, because they're like, well, there were fucking SCIF documents, classified documents, top secret documents that no one should have their hands on outside of certain personnel or certain areas, like just,
right. It's not supposed to even leave a certain type of fucking room.
Right.
Like,
so now you're like, oh, this makes total sense. It wasn't just like, no, you can't have it because you can't have it. It was like, you can't have it because, well,
we can't give it to you.
We can't give it to you. And also we're still missing parts of those things, and we're still trying to figure out where the fuck they are and what happened to them.
Right.
So
and that's why
more of a story here. Yeah.
That's why Cash is kind of in a between a rock and a hard spot here. Let's finish up.
No, they can't. So what happens? The fake news mafia comes in and says, oh, but there was no protocols followed. And Mark, when they're arguing protocols and procedure, it's because they have lost the factual argument and the truth. And now they are trying to hide behind this magistrate judge who is going to supposedly play this game of redactions.
Oh, that's hilarious. So, and we've watched this morning. I think the magistrate announced this morning that they're not gonna. He may still do some redacting and release this affidavit, but he's not at this time. That affidavit isn't going to come public like the news media wants. Which really, honestly, we shouldn't be having this affidavit out in the public without heavy consideration of what the ramifications of this is. I think this judge is going to make the right decision. It looked like he was going to go the way of Trump here, but you have to remember, Trump's attorneys didn't even say anything in this meeting. They filed no real motion. They keep saying they're going to. They keep threatening.
Well, this is all the same shit that Rudy Giuliani said. He's like, oh, we've got affidavits, and he goes, we got stacks of affidavits, and he's got papers in his hand. Doesn't mean fucking shit. He's like, we got evidence on TV saying this stuff. And then we find out in the January 6th committee, it's not evidence. They're just theories. They're just fucking theories. They're like, well, I think somebody put a suitcase with ballots in. I think we saw this on the footage, and it turns out it's all lies. And they're pushing this narrative. And it's the same thing here. They go on to Newsmax and they go on to OAN and they're like, look, we have evidence that shows that they planted the evidence at Mar-a-Lago, right? We have evidence that this is illegal and it violates the Fourth Amendment, which
they don't know what the Fourth Amendment is.
Right? Yeah, it's like you guys.
I mean, they're starting to get a constitutional education with this guy committing all the crimes and having to use his constitutional rights to try to block self-incrimination here.
Well,
they're starting to learn. They're starting to learn the Constitution, aren't they? They're also
starting to learn to say like, oh, look, yep, I lost my law degree. Like I've been disbarred, right?
Whoops.
Because they decided to double down and say,
yeah. Well, they can use their freedom of speech. They can use their freedom of speech, but there is consequences of that,
especially when you're a lawyer.
Speaking of people going on news organizations and lying, here is Jake Tapper. And again, I don't understand why these motherfuckers have people like Dan Crenshaw on. I guess because he spoke out against, his party once. So they have him on because, he must not be a liar. But here he is fucking lying his eye patch off. Let's watch.
Well, look, you know me, Jake, and I'm not one to withhold criticism. And even make my own side mad. I want to get to the truth. But I will be honest with you here. It's hard to justify what the Department of Justice did here, in my opinion.
Okay, well, your opinion fucking sucks, Dan.
Yeah.
It's shit. It's a big pile of shit. Your opinion, that is. So here's my suggestion. Why don't you get a fucking glass eye and fuck off? This guy who claims that performative politics and all this bullshit, here he is suckling at the teat of this Trump lie. Yep. He knows it's all bullshit. Wasn't this guy an intelligence officer at some point? Wasn't he an intelligence officer?
Here, let's see.
The guy definitely knows how to handle or how you're supposed to handle classified information and what it means to actually declassify a piece of information, I'm sure.
Yeah. He was on SEAL Team 3 in the war in Afghanistan.
Oh,
Lieutenant Commander.
This must be one of the SEALs that is Don Jr.'s friends, huh?
Must be one of the SEALs that he gave during that speech. I got friends who are SEALs. That's
he
not
doesn't
true.
He doesn't have friends. Come on, let alone SEAls. He doesn't have friends, does he? Don?
No, he has.
He calls you all the time, but
I know he does. He called me. He actually called me the other day about
Did you
the
record
raid.
it? Did you record it?
I did. I'm gonna release it soon.
Okay, good.
Today. But Dan Crenshaw, like this guy is openly admitting to saying, yes, is it wrong to take the documents? No question. That is not right. However, this is a very political move by the DOJ. No, it's not. No, it is not. You're admitting that it's illegal to take these things. Or right, he doesn't say illegal. He says it's not right, I think is what he said.
Yeah. Well.
And then he goes further to say, with that being said, I think they're overreacting about him taking these classified documents, which it's not, especially when we've realized that these are highly classified documents. They contain nuclear secrets, and that's all that we actually know about. There's probably even worse shit that's in there that's more top secret that no one can know. But the fact that he's like, yeah, it's wrong. However, let's just understand that this is a political move by the DOJ. No, it's not. You would do the same fucking shit if if Biden decided, hey, look, precedent has been established, and I'm going to take these documents to my home in Delaware, and I'm going to scrapbook for mementos. They would fucking lose their fucking shit.
Can you
imagine?
Be
like, we need the head of Biden. That's what they would say.
They would be
the ones pushing it.
Can you imagine if there was a Dark Brandon scrapbook? That would be. Maybe. You know what? Maybe he stole the Dark Brandon scrapbook and that's in those boxes. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I mean, there's like photos of him, getting ice cream, right? There's photos of him on a bike. There's photos of him holding up documents. Also earlier you said, maybe these were the SEALs that Don Jr. was friends with.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not actual people. He might be talking about like like actual
Oh,
seals
like he went to
at like a
SeaWorld?
zoo or like an
Oh.
aquarium, you know?
That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. Maybe him and Eric tried to get his dad to go to SeaWorld with him, and he wouldn't go. But they made friends with some seals. Let's listen.
That's what I think he meant.
Where is this? This is some event.
Something Carolina. Let's see.
Okay, well, this is probably some kind of event where they're supporting a Nazi, America First Nazi, probably a member of the America First Nazi Party, trying to take over part of our government and trying to turn it into a fascist state, I'd imagine. I mean, there's only so many things. The reason why Don Jr. would travel across country to spread fascism or to score some coke. But let's listen to Don here, the Donnie Jr., Booger Sugar Jr., fantasize about having friends.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone in our military. I have friends on SEAL teams that tell me they spend more time now in diversity training than they do shooting. And I was also like, this is one of the...
Okay, so there's a lot of problems with this, Don. Number one, everyone knows you don't have fucking friends. Everyone knows that. But here's the other thing, is he's like, oh, now that Joe Biden actually did the thing that my dad promised to get us out of the war in Afghanistan, these guys don't have anyone to shoot and kill. So tolerance is the thing that they're teaching these people. This is more of this stupid fucking wokeism shit.
It's the person that he, because as I was looking at the sign, sorry, it's Friends of Carolina. Or Carolina. I don't know how she pronounced her name.
Oh, so this isn't like the state of Carolina.
No.
Her
it's
name
Friends of
Carolina.
I'm not sure. Amnesty. Welcome to the fundraising reception with Donald Trump Jr. Friends of Carolina Amnesty, State House candidate, District 45, August 18th, 2022. She's running in the state of Florida for District 45.
Okay, so this is important because you have Don Jr., the coked up son of the former guy, going to a state house race. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
A state house race in Florida. Folks, if you're not engaged in your democracy and you're not paying attention to some of your local races, these fascists are trying to take your fucking local district away from you. And they're going to try to use their fascism to take away your way of life in these local districts. Don Jr. is showing up, Booger Sugar Jr., and I'm sure he's, he probably went there because he could score some decent coke in that town or some shit. But they're out for blood. I'm telling you, they're out for blood. And these state races are important. Let me show you why. This happened in South Carolina. I believe this was the end of last week. This guy's name is Collins. Again, this is in South Carolina in the, I believe in their house chamber, because he's a representative. He's not a senator here. So it'd be reflective of their house chamber in the state of Carolina. I'm not sure exactly how their legislators made up in Carolina, but this is an elected official. Now, he voted to take away women's rights in a personhood bill. He describes it here. And then he starts to talk about how he almost immediately regrets it. Now, I'm going to rip this motherfucker apart because I actually think we should not give this son of a bitch any kind of credit here. Fuck him. Fuck him and anyone who thinks like him at this point. Everyone's like, oh, well, we should invite them over to our side. Our side, no. Fuck you. This guy abstained from another vote that took it even further. Even after he made this speech, he didn't vote against that bill. He abstained. And by abstaining, he's only fucking giving credence to their bigotry and their fucking fascism here. But listen to how he regrets his vote because he didn't fully understand the ramifications of him voting for legislation. This is the most boneheaded fucking thing I have ever heard in my life, that a politician doesn't understand that when they vote on fucking legislation, that it affects their constituents. You piece of fucking shit. Let's listen.
I'll move to my final comments then, Mr. Chairman. I voted for the pain-capable bill, the fetal heartbeat bill, and fetal heartbeat has been for 6 weeks now.
Neil Collins is this guy's name, by the way. Representative Neil Collins. And notice he's on the Judiciary Special Laws Committee, this motherfucker.
The second week that the fetal heartbeat bill became law, a doctor called me out of Anderson. I live in Easley. A 19-year-old girl appeared at the ER. She was 15.
So now a 19-year-old's a girl, by the way.
Mhm.
Now to them, a 19-year-old's a girl.
Well, she's a teenager, so she's still a girl.
I mean, I would agree, but now to them, now they're
Right.
changing their mind.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers. This motherfucker here.
15 weeks pregnant. Her water broke. And the fetus was unviable. The standard of care was to advise her that they could extract or she could go home. The attorneys told the doctors that because of the fetal heartbeat bill, because that 15-week-old had a heartbeat, the doctors could not extract. So their only choices were to...
Now, you notice, because this is why I think this motherfucker's a coward. He's a fucking coward. Now, he's sitting here and he's saying these things, and people are like, well, at least he had the gumption to speak up here. Well, frankly, he did a dereliction in duty by speaking up like this and then abstaining from a vote against what he's saying is going to harm his constituents here. He's a weak piece of shit, and frankly, in my mind, he didn't go far enough. Someone who wasn't a coward would not only spoke up, but use their vote in support of their fucking constituents. But you notice how he blames it. He blames it on the attorneys. Did you see that? Did you notice that little thing there?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're never going to take responsibility. They're never going to say, hey, look, I, one, didn't read the bill when I voted on it. Two, I never really thought of what the outcomes or possibilities or like edge cases could be if somebody was pregnant, despite the fact that there were other people on the other side of the aisle that said, you haven't thought this fucking thing through. And when it does come back to bite you in the ass, you're not going to be able to point fingers because you were the one who voted on it. You're the one who put your stamp of approval to say, yes, it should be illegal after 6 weeks to have an abortion. And now you have someone that's just a county over, just a town over, whatever, and you feel for that person, but you have just no ability, despite the fact that you have the power to now vote against it. You go,
yeah. I would love to vote against it, but I can't because I would get torched. Rebecca on Facebook points out something. She says, what the fuck? You can't go home after your water breaks. You can get an infection and or is harmful to the baby. Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the thing here. The Republicans want to force the doctors to not do the thing that, I don't know, they were educated to do, which is medicine, and send these women home with this fear of infection and dying. Watch.
Admit the 19-year-old until that fetal heartbeat stopped. I asked, how long does it take to stop? She said seconds, minutes, hours, maybe days, or discharge. They discharged that 19-year-old. The doctor told me at that point, there's a 50% chance. Well, first, she's going to pass this fetus in the toilet. She's going to have to deal with that on her own. There's a 50% chance, greater than 50% chance that she's going to lose her uterus. There's a 10% chance that she will develop sepsis and herself die. That weighs on me. I voted for that bill. These are affecting people.
Oh my God. Can you imagine, Bill, a bill affecting people, Gabe? If you vote on are you telling me that that's what policy and government does? Are you telling me that when we elect these officials to make decisions for us, the government, when they represent us as the government, you mean the decisions and the votes that they take affect us? Are you serious? This is ridiculous. How ridiculous is this that these people have to weigh this on their mind?
Yeah. It's crazy that, just like Trump's lawyers learning about constitutional law, it's almost like these people who are in office are like getting like a civics lesson and understanding how policymaking is done.
God.
And that when you vote on something, it's not just for you to say, well, it doesn't affect me, so I don't give a fuck. But now that you have constituents or people that are coming to you and saying this, you're like, oh, I feel for that person. Because, yeah, it is incredibly fucked up that somebody would have to have can't get an abortion, even though that is the recommended procedure when you have this happen to you. And they say, nope, you know what? You have to now keep that dead fetus in your body. And you could possibly die. You get sepsis, you get an infection, you can get sick, right? Like your health is at risk. So because of the baby or the fetus, stopped and your body was like, hey, look, this is not going to work out. Republicans like, nope, gotta keep it. That's how fucked up that is. And this guy's like, oh man, like this is so messed up. Yeah, what the fuck did you think was going to happen when you decided to say 6 weeks was the bare minimum, or rather the maximum of when you could get an abortion?
I mean, here's the thing. The reason why he really is upset, Gabe, the reason why he's upset is not because of the life of this 19-year-old. That has nothing to do with it. Not because other people could be affected. He's affected by this. And the reason why he's affected by this is because he was roped into these conversations, and now he's in a position where he has to defend his vote. How dare you? How dare you, as constituents, get me in a situation where I now have to defend my vile vote to take your rights away? What the hell's wrong with you? If you are affecting me, because that's really what he's saying here, listen to the end here. This affects him. That's why he's pissed off here. That's why I don't give a fuck about this guy. I don't care what the fuck story he told. The way he told it here, it's about him. The whole fucking thing is about him.
Well, he's the victim, Tony. He's the victim.
Absolutely.
No responsibility.
I'm
the victim. I feel the pain, even though this teenage 19-year-old girl was the one who had to go through this very traumatic physical and emotional just stress and trauma. And then he goes, well,
yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Someone's asking, he abstained. Yes, he does abstain. You'll see the end of the clip where he says he's going to abstain. Watch.
And we're having a meeting about this. It took that whole week. I did not sleep.
See?
Wow.
See? Wow. I told you, this motherfucker.
I followed up with the doctor a week later.
Yeah?
She had heard nothing. Did not know about the 19-year-old. Thank God I followed up 2 weeks later. She did return to the ER. They did extract the now non-beating fetus.
Thank God they did an abortion on here. Do you hear this guy?
Yeah.
Do you hear this motherfucker? This forced birther? Thank God, he says, because I was losing sleep. Oh my God. Well, thank God for Representative Collins that this 19-year-old girl finally was able to get a medical procedure to save her life because he voted for a fucking bill and he couldn't get sleep since he voted for it. This piece of fucking shit. Fuck him. Fuck him and anyone like him. Fuck him. Everyone hailed this guy over the weekend, and he's some kind of fucking hero for speaking out. He's not speaking out for her. He's speaking out for himself. Fuck him.
Yeah. Again, it is the projection, it is the guilt, it is the gaslighting, it is I'm the victim, I'm the one who really experienced the trauma, and I want to say that in order for me to sleep well at night, I abstain. I abstain, Tony.
Well, here he is.
And it cleanses, just like fucking clean slate. I abstain. It's like you go to church and you're like, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. And then the priest says, okay, let me get 10 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers, and you should be good. And you're like, okay, cool, awesome.
Well, here it is. Here's his conscience being cleared here.
What we do matters.
Thank you,
Representative. Oh, fuck
Collins.
that shit.
1 second, Mr. Chairman. I'm almost finished.
Shut the fuck up.
Out of respect for the process, I'm not voting today. But I want it to be clear that myself and many others are not in a position to vote for this bill without significant changes.
I'm not in a position to vote today. I abstain.
Yeah.
What a pile of shit. He's crying. He's crying because of a decision he made.
Yep.
You made this decision. People have been saying this about this shit for decades and decades and decades. If you go down this slippery slope, it will cost people their fucking lives. It'll cost them their lives. It's not some kind of fucking liberal fucking conspiracy theory where we're trying to make you have a certain religion or force you to have abortions. You are forcing people to have birth. You are forced birthers. You are not pro-life.
Yeah.
You are not pro-life, Collins, and you still are not pro-life. You are still a forced birther because you abstain. You won't show your voice to make sure to protect that 19-year-old and women like her and their bodily autonomy and their privacy to make decisions that could save or affect their life. You piece of fucking shit. Fuck him. I don't want to hear anyone talking about how much of a hero this guy is. Fuck this guy.
I think the part of the video that almost pissed me off, like as much as him saying, despite me saying this very, very sad and you know, realistic but depressing story about this young girl having to go through this event, this dramatic event, it's the woman next to him that like consoles him. And I'm like, are you fucking serious right now?
Fuck that shit. Fuck
like
that
going against your own side, like as a woman, that you're like, oh yeah, well, it really fucking sucks for that girl. And this woman's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Like, are you gonna tear up? I'm here. Let me just like kind of brush your shoulder and your arm. Give me a fucking break, dude.
Poor guy.
Like
what a poor guy. He lost sleep, Gabe. He lost sleep. I can't imagine.
For one week.
Oh my God, he lost sleep for 1 week, let alone all the women out there who can't make fucking medical decisions about their goddamn body. You
like
dumb
he's upset for 1 week. He's like, I couldn't sleep. I lost sleep for a week.
Oh my God.
And then he tells a story like originally when I heard this video and he's like, oh, I followed up with the doctor and the doctor didn't hear anything. A week went by. And the worst thought in my mind happened, which was that the girl didn't survive, right? She got an infection, she died, or something very terrible happened, right? Because her life was at risk. She was carrying a dead fetus in her body that could hurt her own health. And so when he originally said, oh, I followed up and the doctor didn't hear from her, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
man,
you're thinking
story,
the worst. You're thinking the
I was
worst.
like, the story is going not the way that I want. So when I hear him say, oh, I lost sleep for a week. Well, imagine if this girl had lost sleep, well, for the rest of her life because she died. And he goes,
well, and
it's likely
with them not being able to make this procedure and discharging her, it is likely that she will never be able to have children. Right. Talk about being pro-life. Talk about being pro-fucking life. And then he has the gall to thank God. That's what pisses me off the most, when he thanks God that they were able to do that abortion. You piece of fucking shit. You piece of vile trash. When you tell people they can or cannot make a choice about their goddamn body and their health care and their fucking well-being and their life, and then you thank God that they had an abortion because you used your fucking God. You used your fucking God to tell them they can't do that. You piece of vile trash. Speaking of vile trash, invoking God, you were talking about people praying to God and someone deeming them absolvent of their sins. This is hilarious. This is again at this whatever the hell this thing is.
The Moment of Truth Summit.
Oh, that's what it called.
Hosted by Michael Lindell.
So are they calling this the Cyber Symposium? Are they?
No, they rebranded. No, okay. So what happened? So the reason that I brought this up earlier was this is the same bullshit that he pushed last year. He just rebranded it because there was so much of an embarrassment. Because what happened was, not only did they have tons of technical problems on like sharing screens and pulling up documents, you had what's his face who ran in the state of Arizona who got like 7%.
Watkins.
Watkins. He showed up.
The original cues or something.
He showed up
and like a live stream, right?
Yeah. And then he was he basically called them out to be like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. And every time that you talk about how there's going to be some big kind of reveal, something goes wrong, or you don't have it, or it's less than what you thought it was. So that happened in real time on the show, or this Cyber Symposium. So now they're saying, okay, we're not going to go Cyber Symposium anymore. We're going to call it the Moment of Truth Summit, which again, these people love to use the word truth, right? They misuse the word truth because they don't know what the actual definition is. They misuse the word God and religion and actual being a Christian because they don't know what it actually is. And here you have an example of those two things merging. Like, what's the truth? Like Ben Glebe talked about it in his special where he talked about like these things that were written in the Bible, a little bit biased because it was written by those people that are pushing it. But also it's like, there weren't really any witnesses. It was people telling a story about a story about a story about a story and then somebody writing it down.
Right. It's fucking ridiculous. The best part about this clip is these people have so much conceit that Gabe, if you catch it, they're not asking for God's blessing. They are blessing God. This is how far down this fascist rabbit hole that they are. And I want to explain why. This is funny, But I want to explain why this mindset is so fucking dangerous. Watch this.
Holy Spirit, we say, come, King of glory. We want to thank you today. We want to praise you.
What I'm not sure. The lady in the pink, she's praying, right? But the one in the black, is she going, stop, stop, stop? Wait. I can't figure out what she's doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't figure out what she's doing. Well, let's keep watching.
We want to acknowledge, God, that you are God and you are worthy of our praises, our
She's
thanks,
like, can't hold my arms that long. Gotta go bring it down.
Did you hear this? Listen to what she says.
of our worthy of our.
Ah, damn it! Here.
You are God, and you are worthy of our praises. Our
God, you God are worthy of our praises. So God must be flattered at this point.
Yeah, he's like, oh shit, I'm worthy. Well, thank you very much.
Well, son of a bitch.
Look, I thought I had this wrong the whole time. I thought you had to be worthy, but turns out the tables have turned, and I am now worthy of you, humans.
Son of a bitch. You
motherfucker
have out God. Listen, it gets better. Listen to this.
Thanks, God, and you've been so good to us, and we praise you. We thank you. We bless you.
We bless you.
He's like,
we bless you. Here's a bunch of boneheads standing up on stage at the moment of Fraud Summit, and they're telling God that they're gonna bless God. Are you fucking shitting me?
They're like, God, we know you've been busy, making. Well, there was something I wanted to say in the last segment, which was like the fact that these people use God as their example. They're like, oh man, thank God we were able to help this person, right? Thank God that whatever bullshit excuse they want to come up with. But it's like, whenever there's a good thing, like, oh, this person became pregnant, thank God. Turns out that she had a miscarriage and the baby did not survive. Oh, thank God. Like, why are you thanking God? Like, you thanking God that she's alive? Like, you're thanking God that she, what happened here? Like, you'll thank God when it's a miracle, but you'll blame fucking Satan when shit goes wrong. It's like, you don't think that God was like, that's why God is bullshit, right? This whole idea of like, only good things are from God. Fuck that bullshit. Especially when you say, oh, well, this is what the plan was. You gotta trust the plan. This is how it was meant to be. If it was really meant to be, don't you think God would have done something to make everything good?
Well, I agree. And really this because I'm an atheist. Yeah, I think you're an atheist. But
what do you say think? I think you're yes, I'm a fucking atheist.
Okay, you're an atheist. Are you offended that I say I think you are?
Yeah,
you're like, look,
we've had this conversation.
If you even imply
how
that
dare you?
God, how dare you?
Yeah. You are not even worthy. Okay.
Look, I bless
of
you.
My
Dave.
praises.
I bless you. I bless you.
Oh,
look,
thank you.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Is that even as atheists, right? I mean, there's something to the morality of Christianity, like the second half of the book. Right?
Yeah.
There's something to that morality that it rings in a lot of societies, right? The idea of tolerance, the idea of equity and equality and
acceptance,
right? Acceptance, right? All that stuff. But here you have two Karens on stage, and they're going to anoint themselves so much of a high power here that they're going to bless the infallible God, right?
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is like there's an infallible God, but that infallibility seems to be contradicted at every turn with these people. But here you have these morons in sweaters here gonna have so much conceit in themselves and they think they have so much spiritual power that they're going to bless God. Now, this is important historically because this is exactly what Nazi Germany did, right? Yeah. Nazi Germany, their founding of fascism was founded on Christianity. And the aim was that Hitler was so, he was a prophet. He was a prophet sent by God, so much so that he became the idea of God. And so much so that they almost didn't look to God as much as they looked to Hitler to praise God and use their ideology to anoint things and to tell God what God believed. That's where we're headed here. Because I don't actually think she's doing this like consciously. Like she's not standing there, trying to flatter God. This is subconscious. This has been cooked into this person's lunatic brain and has been cooked in here, has been diluted inside of her. And that's why she's saying, because I honestly, I've been to a lot of churches in my day, different churches, right? I attended different style churches. And I have never, that I can remember, had someone stand up and act like they were going to bless God. Like I've never really witnessed that before until this moment. I'm like, holy shit.
It's a bold move. It's like that. It's like that scene.
Shaking.
It's like that scene from Dodgeball. He's like, bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. Like it's one of those moments where you're like, you have the audacity to go and say, I bless this omnipotent being that is God, right? This all powerful, can wield whatever he fucking wants. Like you're saying that you are blessing him and it should be so lucky to get such a blessing, right? Which is like a weird way of being like, God blessed you, but now you're blessing God because somehow you became more powerful than God. Like, what the fuck is going on here, right? And that's this idea that these, white nationalist Christians believe that they are messengers of God, right? They have become so powerful that control and suppression and oppression of others that they say, I am now as powerful as God because I can tell you what you can do with your body and where you can go.
That's right.
And what you can read
Who
and
you
what
can
you
love.
can say.
That's right.
And who you can love and whatever it is. When you get that power, people get a little fucking crazy, man. And they think that they're God. And they think that they are unfucking, they are invincible. And it gets very dangerous. And that's what we're seeing early signs of.
You better not speak out against any kind of
right
fascist prophet. Because if you do, we played last week that Alex Jones was now in support of DeSantis. And he was kind of rebuking Trump. But he kind of had to tuck tail and run. He got up against a rock and a hard spot between the orange Mussolini Jesus, and he had to kind of recant here. Let's listen.
So this is my emergency message to you, Mr.
Emergency message to Mr. President. Are you fucking serious? This can't be serious, right? He can't believe this garbage, right? This can't be a person who believes this shit.
Like,
come on, let's
every day I say they can't be that dumb, and then something happens, and I go, okay, well maybe they are that
this
dumb.
is all theater, right? Let's watch again. Watch as he says this.
So this is my emergency message to you, Mr. President, to go and actually watch the first 30 minutes of Thursday's show. We'll put a link to it below here so you can see what I said in context. The corporate media edited down a 30-second clip to make it sound like that I'm only for DeSantis.
This is hilarious. Apparently, we're the corporate media now. We're the corporate media because we took a clip of his show and we played it on our show. And clearly, he stated that he was abandoning Trump and he was going to support DeSantis. But I mean, watch the first 30 minutes, Gabe, because the corporate media is trying to twist the context here of which he abandoned Trump. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. This is not the first time that Alex Jones has done this. He'll go against Trump, and then he'll back away. Back away from that.
Like, he'll push it and then be like, oh shit. Like, I don't know what happened if he heard whispers of someone saying Trump is very upset with you, or if he saw the
pushback from his audience, probably.
Right, or the media machine churning out this fabricated, altered, distorted statement that he made. And he's like, oh, no, I can't just say anything and not be invincible and not have repercussions, right? But this is him getting on his knees and groveling and be like, sir, President Trump, please. Like, and the other thing too is, if this really was a message for Trump, I'm sure he could find some way to get it to Roger Stone and to get it to Donald Trump, right? He would have a private channel.
I bet he could call the dude. He could call the dude. He probably text the dude.
This is an attempt to publicly state, he's like, oh, I'm the victim. They skewed and played and manipulated what I said.
Like Representative Collins, he's the victim, right?
Exactly. If it doesn't go your way, then you just like turn course and say, no. despite the fact that it was unedited and you guys heard everything that I said, and I meant what I said when I said it, now people don't like what I said. So now I got to play the victim and say, oh, well, they did it to me. Just like they did it to you, Mr. President. Like, you're the victim, I'm the victim. We're simpatico, man. We are amigos. We are connected at the hip by being victims from mainstream media or from the left or whatever it is. So this is him attempting to save face in front of his audience. Because yes, like you said, they probably came out and were like, oh, what the fuck, dude? That's not right. Don't well, hold on. Don't, even though they're watching this competition go on between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, in some ways, I feel like it's too early to put your eggs in a certain basket, right? To collect certain deplorables and put it in a basket. This is one of those moments where it's too early, and I think certain people are unsure of which side to go for, especially if this 2024 run happens with either of them. And that's what's happening. Is he's like, oh, whoa. No. Trump is the president. Trump is our president. He's going to run in 2024. But until the announcement happens or Ron DeSantis decides to go as a contender, people are saying that he's jumping the gun. In my mind, I think is they're upset that he made an assumption here that they have to go for this guy versus that guy.
Well, but having said that, and you think about that for a second, right? Because Alex Jones in this universe of, I was talking about it in the A block, the first 30 minutes of the tail wagging the dog, because the tail always wags the dog. No matter what you want to believe, the tail always wags the dog. That's how it works. But if you take it through that prism here, maybe, just maybe, and we know that Alex Jones is about performative art.
Yeah.
I mean, don't put it past him that this was all contrived from the very beginning.
Right.
And maybe it's just a way to signal through his audience to Ron DeSantis and Trump who is the actual king here. You follow what I mean? So what a guy could do if he had an audience, like Alex Jones has an audience. He knows how much control he has over his audience hearing what he says. He knows they hear it. He knows they respond. So what if he was like, you know what? How can we really prove not to just themselves, but to Ron DeSantis and Trump even, who the king of the Moglodites are, right? Who's the king of the Moglodites?
Right.
Well, what Alex Jones could do is he could contrive a situation where he would turn on Trump and support DeSantis.
Yep.
And see how his audience will respond, because he knows he's not going to lose.
Right.
He's not.
Yeah,
he
could test the waters, and we could say that's what he did, and then he learned that people are not ready,
right,
to make that jump yet.
Well, and even this statement that we watched here, this statement here could be contrite. That he knew that he would come out and give this emergency message to Trump, to also show and solidify of who is the king of MAGA, who's the MAGA king. I mean, I'm not saying that there's some kind of conspiracy theory here, but when you have the conspiracy theory guy doing these conspiratorial things and trying to contort his audience and trying to pull his audience in a way with his media to see who is actually, because this would be a good way for Alex Jones even to gauge his audience to see what they thought about him supporting DeSantis over Trump and going in that direction. Maybe his audience, maybe he was trying to figure out, maybe they'll support him instead of Trump and I'll go that direction, right?
Yeah.
You know what I think? Because I talked to Kelly Jones, Alex Jones's ex-wife. I talked to her on the Stuttering John's podcast. Maybe we should get her on and ask her about this specifically. I know she's busy, but maybe we should try to see if we can ask her about this situation. Like, get inside the mind of Alex Jones. Is this real or is this all bullshit? Because I actually think this is all fucking made up. This is all bullshit. He's actually doing this like he does everything else to his audience. Like we watched in the trial. I believe nothing that Alex Jones says or does is for anything but to manipulate his audience. 100%. Like the entirety of his media. He absolutely does not believe anything. He has no principles whatsoever. His only goal is to manipulate his audience and to make sure that they think the way that he wants them to and to try to guide them through this path of fucking delusion. Let's finish what he says here, though, because it almost gets even sweeter at the end.
And that I've abandoned you. That's not true. It's the contrary. I understand you're under attack. I understand you are surrounded, and I'm trying to get you to reassess the situation. I know people like Don are telling you that you need to reassess the situation.
Reassess the situation. So Alex Jones is doing Donald Trump a favor here, the way he sees it.
He goes, look, guys, I get it. I get it. You are under attack and I'm under attack. Not just because of this, but because I lost this defamation lawsuit on which I attacked these families of these victims and told all of you that it was a fucking hoax, and then you attacked them, and now I got to pay the sins that you guys and I committed here. But he's like, I get it. I get it. You're victims. I'm a victim. We're all victims. Even doesn't even say Donald Trump or the president or whatever, the former president. He says Don.
Right. He means Don
and
Jr.
I get yeah.
But is that what he means? Is that
I'm assuming that's what it means, because if I don't know,
because he would call Trump president, right?
Right, that's what I figured. But I'm like,
Don.
I don't know if you're like short, like you're just like bringing to me like me and Don, like we're amigos, kind of thing.
Do you think maybe Don Jr. put him up to this because Don Jr. can't get his dad on the phone, but he knows that the president will watch Alex Jones
maybe he's
grovel
like,
at his feet?
I mean, that's possible. He could be like, Dad, look at this message. Look at this message that Alex Jones sent you. I got him to say this.
Could this all be just Don Jr. trying to get his dad's attention? The whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
You just have to assume that anytime Don Jr. says something in public, there is a deep-rooted desire to get attention, right? He's like, oh, I got SEAL team friends, I got these friends that said this whole thing was crazy. That this is not how we should do things. And then, he's hoping. He's like, oh, well, maybe if I go to this thing and I make this statement that my dad will eventually see it because it'll be covered on some news station, or like the unread text. Like, I guarantee that he leaves his son on read.
Yeah.
Like he says, hey, Dad, you want to maybe go get like breakfast today?
Oh, he doesn't even go into thread is what you're saying.
I think he looks at it and he leaves it on read. Like he has the read receipts on there. And he just leaves them on red. So then there's all these messages that show like read at 8:42 a.m., read at 9:46 a.m.
You think he shows the receipt so Don knows, hey, I'm ignoring.
Yeah. He goes, I'm the real powerful one here.
I see.
I will praise you with my graces when you are ready.
I see. Well, speaking of people who like to say things in public to get attention, here's Rudy Colludi, Grandpa Farty McSharty, Rudy Giuliani saying
he's not doing so well, man.
The deep state is trying to kill Trump or some shit. Listen to this. This is fucking nuts.
Before in third world countries and banana republics, they arrest the former opponent, or they kill him.
They kill him. They arrest him. They put their families in jail.
Donald Trump should be in any fear of the deepest of deep state, maybe killing him.
I do.
Huh?
Oh my God. It's literally this is Rudy Giuliani saying the deep state is going to kill Donald Trump. I mean, it doesn't get any. Why are these people watching so many movies? They're watching way too many fucking movies the way I can see this.
Well,
how can you see it any other way?
Well, there's no other way because they want their life to be this interesting. They want it to be this dramatic. They want people to believe that, oh, well, if there's something going wrong, it's not just because I fucked up and I did something wrong. Like, it's not because of my incompetent legal team is going to fuck up this whole FBI searching my property because I stole illegal documents that I should not have had, right? It's not this. What ends up happening is these people are like, oh, well, I have to fabricate this whole story about how someone's trying to assassinate me, or like how there's an extortion plot against me by the FBI, or like whatever it might be, right? They're going to fabricate
how sick you are, and you can't testify in a criminal probe possibly where you're implicated in crimes, or you're trying to overthrow fair elections in our democracy.
Right.
Is this really him in a wheelchair?
This is him. This is Rudy Giuliani.
The Harvey Weinstein thing where he's
this is what happens. I think at a certain point, like I think Harvey Weinstein, I think like the actual health, like that shit really, I think for some like dramatic effect, but I think also his fucking
Yeah, but he
body
had
just
the
broke down.
walker.
No,
and
I know.
Man, that
I
was
think
all bullshit.
I don't know. I want to say, I want to believe that yes, some of it was theater,
I don't
but
believe
some
all
other
of it.
parts of
Any
it was just the overall stress of him being like, oh, fuck, I am fucked right now, coming at him, right? Because before he was like, oh, I'm the head of the production studio in Hollywood.
I actually think he still thinks he's going to get away with this. Harvey Weinstein himself, he's going to win these appeals and shit. I think these people are so disconnected from what reality is that they have no idea what accountability or what it even feels like. And Rudy Giuliani is one of them. I haven't watched this video. I haven't seen this video. I didn't even know this existed.
So I see him in the wheelchair, and I go, maybe
when
he's
was
doing
this?
it.
When was this? A few days ago, or
a couple days ago. But here's the thing: if you're in a wheelchair, it's like, yeah. Well, here's the thing: you're either, because it doesn't look good. One, you're either strong Republican MAGA, right? You're with Trump, or right now you look weak. It's one or the other. You're and you can't be strong if you're in a wheelchair by having some person with airways, whatever, push you around the airport because you can't walk the 500 yards to the exit or to your plane or whatever it might be.
Yeah, well,
so
but
it doesn't play well when you have it, because this is, if he is making this up and this is theater, then he's been like, I'm the victim. I am put under a lot of stress right now, and it is unfair. And I did my job. So it's like, if you did everything right and you're innocent, then you should not need to be pushed around. You should be able to walk from the gate to the exit or the entrance to the gate. You should have no problem.
This may not have anything to do with Rudy's health. This may have to do with the bottle in his pocket, is all I'm saying. And the other thing, too, is that, these people know these dog whistles. They know this bullshit. They know how to buy into it. They know how to translate this nonsense. Just like if you'll give me the clip of Ron DeSantis talking about wokeism and shit in that one.
Which
speech.
one? I feel like there's so many.
Well, there was one over the weekend where his tiny little head was on top of his Trump body, where he's trying to do the best impersonation of Trump that he can. But he's talking about wokeism, but they believe this nonsense. They know the dog whistles. They know how they're supposed to translate this. But let's watch this clip of Rudy being hauled to the airport because he's too drunk to walk.
The district attorney said at the end, Mr. Giuliani has satisfied his obligation under the subpoena. So I was very happy that I satisfied my obligation.
Oh, he's very happy that he satisfied his obligation, even though he refused to try to satisfy that obligation until the court made him do it. Like, they literally had to force him to do this, because he was trying to say that he had a medical procedure, and then he was, I don't know what the fuck else he was saying. He was saying all kinds of lies.
Yeah.
All kinds of fucking lies. Here is, this is at some other Turning Points Nazi thing.
Yep, another one. Every weekend, man, they're fucking printing money over there.
Oh my God, what the hell? Why can't we have our own circus? I've been asking this question.
I don't know. I mean, people ask me all the time whenever I do a clip on something like this, and they're like, do we have one? Like, some people are like, legitimately like, do we have one of these? And I'm like, no, we just don't.
Right, we do not do the circus. I don't know why we don't do the circus. We should do the circus all the time.
It's easy. It's definitely, it would be a great way to fundraise for local elections.
Right.
And also to help the messaging. But in this context, it's like we don't have that opportunity because we believe, we shouldn't go down to their level. No, fuck that. We should meet them where they are.
That's right.
And do a better job of it.
You're goddamn right.
We should have these things, and we should do a better job of messaging. We should talk about all of the different acts that Biden has passed. We should talk about who in the party is an up and coming candidate and who is doing good things for their local area that they're, nearby or whatever it might be. But
I think we should even have like a phone company called Woke Mobile, and it should have outside the booth at our circus at Woke Mobile, it should have a cardboard cutout of Rambo with Dark Brandon's head on it.
Oh yeah,
that's what I think. And then he instead of holding a gun, he should be holding a big banner of all the shit that Dark Brandon actually got done.
I mean, also an ice cream cone. You
can't
forget the ice cream cone.
That's true. I mean, and ice cream is some vicious stuff.
I mean,
when
the other thing
you're
is,
trying to
I've never
liberalize
seen Donald Trump wear sunglasses. So I've only seen Joe Biden wear aviators. So I feel like if we're gonna go into that like style of genre, it makes sense to put that face on there.
Right.
But still, it's fucking cringy as fuck. But let's just I guess we'll just lean into it.
I bet the reason why the Cheeto Death's mobster Grandpa Poopy Pants, Trump can't put glasses on is because it would smear his makeup all over.
Right.
His,
right. Well, also I think if you put them on and you take them off, it would fuck up with the hair.
Right.
It could get caught, and then you'd have these like wings out to the side.
Probably. That's probably what it is. That's why he drinks out of straws. Did you know? Everyone thinks it's some kind of cognitive thing. He drinks out of straws because he doesn't want to fuck up his makeup. That's and I have a mustache. So when I drink, like, if I drink a big glass of water, I'm gonna have water all over my all over my mustache. Just like Donald Trump, he takes the little sips if he doesn't have a straw, because he didn't want it to get on his face, because his makeup would run like Rudy Giuliani's shit for brains was running out of him when he was sweating his ass off trying to come up with lies. But speaking of lies, let's listen to this fascist, the fascist of Florida, talk about wokeism as if it's gonna kill us or some shit. I don't know.
I think in Florida, and we need this to be true in Pennsylvania, around the country, we can't just stand idly by while woke ideology.
Why woke? It's really funny when they go on tirades and they bash other politicians who have a stutter, who can't sometimes get that word out, and they make fun of them. When this guy who he may or may not, I don't know, but he can't seem to walk on while woke, right? Let's listen again. But nope, I'm sure I'll be bashed for making fun of him. Let's listen.
Can't just stand idly by while woke ideology ravages every institution in our society.
What the hell does that mean? What in the fuck does that mean?
Ravage our society.
What the hell does that even mean? Well, here's what it means, Gabe. Do you want me to tell you what it means?
Yeah, sure.
I can tell you what it means. White people around the country hear exactly what that means. It means whatever the fuck they want it to mean, baby. If they don't like black people, if they don't like the LGBT community, if they don't like gay people, if they don't like liberals, if they don't like Democrats, if they don't like Jews, whoever that is the call here. That is the call that that is the dog whistle he is sending out. He is saying woke because that word can mean whatever the fuck the violent ones want it to mean.
Mm-hmm.
You know this. They do this shit in comments all the time, even with you. They'll say stuff to Gabe like, go back to your country.
Yeah.
Right?
Or I hope ICE deports you, which I'm like, I'm
Where
a citizen
the hell are
of
they
this
gonna
country.
take you? They're going to take you back to Chicago?
I guess so. I guess so.
I don't
They'd be like,
understand.
well, yeah, it looks like you grew up in, yep, okay, great.
But again, this is the dog whistle that he is trying to portray here. And remember where he's doing it. He's doing it in Pennsylvania as he's trying to support the Nazi candidate for governor in Pennsylvania, where he's trying to throw a dog whistle around like the word woke. And again, I don't even know what the hell it means, but he continues here.
Well, they just throw woke on whatever. If there's ever a problem that, or they ever see an issue with something and they need to platform on it, they'll just be like, oh, that's woke. It's like, but is it woke? No, it's not. It's just
several years ago it was own the libs, right?
Right.
Now it's this woke thing. They come up with a new word to really blanket anyone.
If you are a person who cares about other people, right? Whether it's like, hey, I wore a mask to protect myself and also you from getting sick, or like I care about people having, housing or healthcare or,
or
a
just
good job
loving
or
who
whatever.
they want to love, whatever.
Right,
it may
exactly.
be.
That shit is radical and it's woke, Tony. It is radical woke.
Fucking
and it's
crazy
like,
ass
if you're just trying to be a
that
normal
shit,
human,
motherfucker.
Following Christian principles, pretty much, you're woke, dude. You're fucking woke.
Well, it's not surprising that a Turning Points action event here that he's giving what seemed to be 1930, 1940 style anti-Semitic dog whistles like Nazi Germany. But let's continue. You cannot look away. You have to see what these people are doing. It is super important.
We must fight the woke in our schools. We must fight the woke in our businesses. We must fight the woke in government agencies. We can never, ever surrender to woke ideology. And I'll tell you this, the state of Florida is where woke goes to die.
No one is waking up in Florida. They're all asleep down there. They are just fast asleep. I don't understand what the hell. And then these people cheering for this stuff, which is really, that is the thing that should terrify people, is that there is a tail out there willing to wag the dog of this fascism, because that's really what he's talking about. The dog whistle that he's giving here is anyone out there who is not you, who is not a white Christian, who is not a nationalist, who is not an America First Nazi, who is not someone who hates the LGBTQ community, so much so that they'll believe stuff like monkeypox is a scourge of gay people or some crazy ass shit. There are people calling for the parents of children who have monkeypox to be jailed.
Yeah.
Because their children got monkeypox, because apparently there's a lot of children receiving monkeypox because it's a rash. It's a goddamn rash, and children spread around rashes because they share toys and shit. Why don't these people understand that wokeness is not what you think it is? And I would like to ask Ron DeSantis that question. Well, I'd like to ask him a couple questions.
Yeah.
But the first question is, because they're always running around like, what's a woman? What's a woman, Gabe? Do you know what a woman is? I would like to ask Ron DeSantis, what's a woker?
Yeah.
What is a woker? Can you describe a woker for me?
I think
would
John
like to
Kennedy,
identify him.
he's the one who's like, these wokers, I'd love for him to tell us in a non-Southern fake accent what woker means,
Mother wokers. Let's move on, because I've had enough of the fascists from Florida, King Ron here. So let's move on from him. What else do we have trending today? Did you hear this story about Dennis Rodman? Surely,
I heard that he's going to go to Russia to fix this issue with Brittany.
I mean, I think this story is laughable. It has a funny component.
Look, if he wants to go, just fucking send him
stuff.
over there. Like, if he wants to go, by all means, go. Right? Like, if you think you can solve this problem, then go for it. It seems like a problem for professional people. The legislators and people that are involved in it, actually. But if Dennis Rodman wants to go for it, I mean, shit, he was Kim Jong-un's favorite, he's his friend. So
do you think that's where this is coming from? Is like he did not do a good job of negotiating Kim Jong-un. He just went there and because Kim Jong-un thought he was cool because he was a basketball player or some shit. I don't understand it.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe he's like, I'll go there and, you dictators, you guys know each other, you guys hang out, maybe we can get a little powwow and we can talk about how to get this person out, right? So he's like, maybe that's Dennis Rodman is the middleman, where it's like this world of dictator and basketball. And in the middle, it's Brittany and Dennis, right? And they're, he can only save her.
Right.
Because he has a connection to Kim Jong-un, and Kim Jong-un knows Putin, and Putin is holding Brittany. And so then he thinks maybe he can influence that situation. And then
so it's like a friend of my friend, I'll get a hold of him and he'll fix this problem.
Yeah.
Because, here's the thing, is they're both basketball players, right? Dennis Rodman and Brittany Griner are both basketball. They're both Americans. Brittany Griner seems to be wanting to come home. And Dennis Rodman really wants to go to Russia. And we normally in this country, we're very used to this trading of basketball players for team to team. I'm just saying, is this an option where we could trade? Because they want to have the Russia wants this military. What is this? Is this a person, a spy that they want to trade? There's someone they want to trade. They're a spy or something. But I'm saying, really honestly, if we're going to trade a basketball player for a basketball player, and we're going to, take sides and, do the trading of teams here, I am willing to go out on a limb here and say most Americans would be okay with the trade option of Brittany Griner for Dennis Rodman, as opposed to this spy that they want.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Victor Bout. And like anyone, I saw someone in here, the people that call themselves, or that the group calls Fake Gabe in here in the chat. He says Rodman's doing more than Biden. But I think we should also call out the fact that the Biden administration has already offered the convicted Russian arms dealer in exchange for Griner. So don't come in here and say he's doing more than Biden. The guy's doing that on top of the fact that he's also passing sweeping legislation with no support from Republicans to help U.S. citizens. So he's doing one thing and also discussing this other shit because he's able to multitask.
Well, I want to point out something too here to Fake Gabe or whatever the point is really the underlying story here of Brittany Griner being detained and being sentenced to 9 years in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
People like Gabe in the chat and people that you know who talk about, well, she deserves it. She did what she got, and all this shit. You are weaponizing Russia. You are doing their bidding. Their war against us as Americans, you're their weapon.
Yeah.
You're their ammunition. Because what you're doing by saying that Brittany Griner should stay over there in Russia, she get what she deserved, blah, blah, blah. Because Gabe, frankly, they hate her. Number one, she's a successful woman. She's black and she's a lesbian. They hate that. They absolutely fucking hate that about her. And I'm not talking about Russia. I'm talking about the people who Russia weaponized in this country to be so un-American that they would tolerate someone who had residue from a drug that was legal here, and she get sentenced to 9 years in a Russian prison unless we trade an arms dealer. You're upset that we're trading an arms dealing is your fault.
Yeah.
It's you. You are giving Russia power here. They are the ones who detained and sentenced Brittany Griner to prison because they knew that you dumb motherfuckers who are out there pushing for Putin and Putin's puppet and fucking with fascism and Trumpism and MAGA, you pieces of shit out there who have those fucking easy deluded minds. So much so that Putin can fucking convince you that we should go to war because we shouldn't give up an arms dealer. Putin knew he was going to get the arms dealer, you dumb motherfucker. And the reason why he knew he was going to get the arms dealer is because of people like you pushing propaganda like you're pushing and believing the fascist ideas that you believe because you're playing into Putin's narrative. You're playing into his delusion. You're playing into his hands. That is what you're doing. You are spreading the warfare of Russia on truth because that's really the war we're fighting here. It's not a war on information. It's a war on the truth is what they're trying to do. And by you saying, oh, well, Dennis Rodman's doing more for this country than Joe Biden ever met. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. You are believing more of the fucking Russian propaganda. You are the Russian machine. You are a good Russian soldier, Fake Gabe. You are a great Russian soldier. And I'm glad you picked the side and you picked the fucking team, you un-American fucking piece of shit. Because in this chat and on this show, we are about Americans, we are about democracy, and we are about the truth. And you, sir, need to pluck your head out of your ass and realize that Brittany Griner is an American. And Putin used you and your deluded little mind to convince the entire world that he could detain her, he could jail her, so that way he could get his arms dealer back. So if you're mad that they're going to get an arms dealer in trade for Brittany Griner, that is your fault. You did that. You put this on the world. You did that. So maybe tomorrow when you wake up and you go down to get your cup of coffee before you put your MAGA tears in it, maybe what you should do is think about the actions that you take in this country when you're a traitor and you're turning Putin's weapons of war on us. And it's called fucking disinformation and fucking Russian propaganda. You're doing Putin's bidding. You're part of the problem. And that's why Brittany Griner is in the situation that she is in. And that's why our government is thinking about trading an arms dealer for Brittany Griner because of people like you and the situation that we're in, because you people just can't stop believing whatever the fuck you want to believe. You fucking just forget about the truth. We love the lies. Keep feeding them to us, Putin. We'll do your bidding. We'll be your weapon of war here in America. We'll be your war on truth. We're a good Russian soldier. So put on your uniform, Fake Gabe, and be that Russian soldier that you're born to be, because you're not an American. All right. Well, I think that's about all I got on that.
Yeah. No, the only thing I was going to add was, good job, comrade. Very good job. But the other thing that I was going to say was the fact that when, let's say this trade does happen, and they go, okay, we're gonna trade in this arms dealer, this Russian arms dealer that we've had for Brittany Griner. As soon as that trade happens, if it happens, the right will say, "How dare you? How dare you trade and put an arms dealer back on the market?" Like that's as soon as it'll flip. When the consideration is happening right now to say, hey, we want to bring this person back, we want to bring Brittany back to America and trade it for an arms dealer, a Russian arms dealer, they will support that 100%. And then as soon as that trade happens, they'll go, whoa, what the fuck did you do? You just put America in danger by allowing this arms dealer to go back to Russia. So you can't have it any way. You can't win.
Nope.
It's always a lose-lose when Republicans like Fake Gabe in the chat are trying to make a point that is very distorted and very much under a propagandist way of thinking.
Well, I mean, when all you're doing is listen to bullshit, just absolute misinformation and Russian propaganda from places like Fox News, Talk Radio, Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump himself, who's a Russian agent and was a Russian agent, continues to be an agent for Russia and Saudi Arabia, then you do get a little diluted and you lose track of who the actual American is and why it seems like America's in such a sticky situation with Putin. I think it's because that Putin has support in this country, and it's you. It's you propagating their weapon of war of misinformation. And we will stand none of that here on the Tony Michaels podcast because we support pro-democracy and we support our democracy and we think you should engage. So support pro-democracy speech everywhere. If you support our show, you can go to support.TonyMichaelsPod.com. Show your support there. Give us a like, give us a share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to do that. Also, you can support us by going over and following us on Twitter. You're not going to want to miss the poll for Bonehead of the Week this week. We already got a bunch of boneheads racked up. And don't forget
I mean, I've already got an idea of who the Alpha Cuck is, but I mean, it's already Monday.
It's Monday. We're already
at
Alpha
Monday,
Cuck.
and I've already got an idea who Alpha Cuck is. Well, but by Thursday, really by Friday morning when I make the final pick on who that is, I mean, that could very well change. It probably will change. I mean, we've got Matt Gaetz has his primary tomorrow.
Oh my God.
So we can, I don't know, something might come out of that.
Boneheads everywhere. So download every single episode of the Tony Michaels podcast. Speaking of Bonehead, Gabe, we're going to have some breaking news with Bonehead later on in the week. I'm going to keep floating that. There's some news. There's some great news about Bonehead of the Week. So stay tuned every single episode this week, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Also simulcasting from the MeidasTouch Facebook page. Don't forget to tune in on every single one of them. You're not going to want to forget because there's going to be big news coming about Bonehead of the Week. So stay tuned, stay in your seat, engage in your democracy, and surf's up, motherfuckers.
You've been listening to the Tony Michaels Podcast. In your face commentary of current events and political news. No rules, no boundaries. I think we've made that perfectly clear. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. In the meantime, follow Tony on social media at The Tony Michaels. And until next time, raise a fist and repeat after me. Fuck 'em.
Murphy's Mule Barn, head ass speaking.